Welcome back to Empire. Today we're going to tackle how to set goals and actually achieve them. Most people don't fail because they set their goals too high. They fail because they set their goals, get excited, and then never change the person chasing them. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems and habits. The real problem with goals, we've all been there. January hits, set a new goal, lose 20 pounds, make more money, get consistent in the gym. For 2 weeks, motivation's high and life hits. Stress, fatigue, comfort, the goal slowly fades away. The problem isn't the goal, it's how we pursue it. Most people are chasing outcomes instead of identities. They say, I want to lose 20 pounds instead of I want to become the person who doesn't miss workouts and fuels their body with intention. If goals are direction, identity is transformation. This is what James Clear in Atomic Habits calls identity-based habits. You don't start with what you want to achieve, you start with who you want to become. We can start by asking ourselves, who is the person that is already living the life I want? What do they do daily? What do they say no to? And what do they value? Every action is a vote for the type of person you want to be. When you see yourself as someone who trains, even when you don't feel like it, your actions start to align automatically. So how do we break our goals into systems? A goal gives you a what, and a system gives you a how. For example, let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds. Your system could be 4 workouts per week, 8,000 steps a day, 1 high protein meal per day, made in advance. You don't need to be perfect, we just need to be consistent. Perfection breaks under pressure, but systems bend, but they hold. So then we need to focus on the process and not the prize. A quote from Arthur Brooks in Build the Life You Want said, happiness doesn't come from achieving a goal, it comes from making progress towards them. When you finally reach the goal, you lose the 20 pounds, you hit the PR, you make the money. First, there's a brief burst of joy, and then emptiness, because your identity was attached to the destination. Real fulfillment comes from pursuit, knowing that you're better than you were yesterday. That is where purpose lives. When I was 10, I started wrestling, and I was terrible. I lost every single match my first year. That's 0 wins. I was terrible, but something in me loved it. I loved showing up, learning, getting slightly better each week. The love of the process turned me into a kid who would win a match, into someone who wrestled in college, into someone who actually still competes in grappling today. That's what happens when you fall in love with the pursuit and not the prize. Here's a simple formula for setting goals that actually stick. 1, start with identity. Who do you want to become? Formulate a statement like this: I'm the kind of person who blank. Number 2, define the vision. What does success actually look like 12 months from now? And then 3, build the system. What are 2 to 3 daily actions that actually move the needle the most? And then 4, track the progress. Keep score, but don't obsess over it. And 5, and maybe most importantly, fall in love with boring. True progress happens when the excitement fades and you show up anyway. The hard truth, the reality is motivation is cheap. Discipline, consistency, and clarity are what separates those who just talk about reaching their goals and those who actually achieve them. You don't need another motivational speech. You need accountability. You need to get up tomorrow and do the work, even when it's not sexy. So next is, how do we set systems and habits? Systems are what makes goals inevitable. James Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Here's a simple 3-1-0 framework. Set 3 priorities per day. 1 for training, 1 for nutrition, and 1 for recovery. 1, set 1 keystone habit, the single behavior that drives everything else. And 0 excuses. Always have a minimum version ready when life hits hard. So that might mean, hey, if I can't make it to the gym, I'm gonna do a 20-minute workout at the house. Hey, if I can't get my cardio, I'm gonna go on a 10-minute walk outside. And if I mess up my nutrition, I'm at least gonna hit my protein goals. You can't control motivation, but you can control momentum. Stack habits, keep them small, stay consistent, even when it's boring. So let's talk environment. Alex Ramosi says, if you can't change your behavior, change your environment. Make the right thing easy and the wrong thing hard. Pack your gym bag the night before, keep your meals prepped, and schedule workouts like non-negotiable meetings on your calendar. Also, surround yourself with people who elevate you to your standards. because environment isn't just physical, it's social. Here's one of my favorite examples from Atomic Habits about environment and how it affects our actions. So in chapter 7 from James Clear's Atomic Habits mentions, while stationed in Vietnam, many soldiers used or became addicted to heroin. In fact, 35% of members had tried heroin and up to 20% were addicted. But here's the twist. When those same soldiers returned to the United States, only 5% became re-addicted within a year. Just 12% relapsed 3 years later. In other words, roughly 9 out of 10 soldiers who had been addicted in Vietnam ended up quitting. And James Clear tells the story and makes this point about it. The environment they were in is what was causing the addiction. When you're surrounded by other people doing the same things, it's very easy to fall into what everyone around you is doing. It's gonna be really hard to live a certain life and get the body you want when you're surrounded by people who don't live that lifestyle. If you can make a change, do it. And lastly, review loops and adaptation. Every week, call yourself to a 15-minute board meeting. Ask yourself, did I train when I said I would? Did I feel right? Did I rest? Did I improve anywhere? Then ask, what worked? What changes need to be made? Then make one adjustment each week. That's the secret. Because goals aren't one giant leap, it's 1,000 small pivots. And when you learn to review instead of start judging, that's when you stop quitting. You don't need motivation, you need alignment. Choose identity, build systems that prove it, shape an environment that supports it, and review and refine every week. And remember, the real joy isn't achieving the goal, it's making progress and becoming the person who never stops growing. Because real happiness isn't a finish line, it's in the pursuit. So set the goal, but fall in love with the pursuit.